This is a great opportunity for Darien, not only our administration, student body, faculty, but for the entire town to thank the seniors for years of dedication to the sport that we get pleasure from watching them, you know. Also to the moms who kept bringing them lunch, their cleats, anything else that they happen to leave at home for all of those days of practice. So thank you guys, thank you to the parents. We appreciate it. So same thing for cheerleaders, and we will start off with cheerleaders tonight with Captain Amanda Lasco, along with her mom, Ann. Next up, number 2, Liam McBride, along with mom and dad, Matthew and Casey.
Okay. All right, guys, just follow the players. Get a little bit towards the left as they come out.
Scoring is here.
It's like, no, stay with Liam.
All right. Simple. Touchdown. Home safe. That's all you gotta do.
All right.
Field goal.
Please welcome number 3, Isaac McMullen, along with his parents, Barry and Tammy.
Get them more to the left as they come out.
Yeah. And make sure you do this first.
Yeah.
Is feel. Down, first down.
Next up, number 4, Simeon Dahl, along with his parents, Greg and Kimberly.
Just, it'll say where to go past that. Ball on 45.
Bruce, you on this?
Let me try to say it's a second down.
Now, Bruce.
Please welcome number 8, A.J. Kelly,
You gotta do this.
along with his parents, Jeff and Maggie.
First down,
Yeah,
okay? Now let's say it's 2nd and 7.
right.
Oh, yeah, we just
Auto
lost it
field?
though.
Yeah.
Auto?
Yeah, it's frozen.
It's supposed to just.
Here's number 9. Excuse me. Here's number 10, Will Johnson, along with his parents, Brendan and Susie.
You forgot number 9, Mac McGarrett.
This automatic first and 10 when you hit this.
This
Can we go to McGarrett next, please?
That's what it is. That.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Down, and yards to go.
Yep, we got it.
Ball's on the.
I managed to skip number 9, Mac McGarren, along with his parents, Colin and Debbie.
Say second down, I hit this. Yo,
Still have it back up on 2.
Two.
Enter.
enter,
Now it's gonna go how many yards? Let's say it's 2nd down and 3.
3. Hit 3,
Enter.
enter.
And the ball.
Here's number 11, J.D. Brennan,
Enter twice.
along with Barry and Claire.
Right?
What's this here when you
That's
enter?
how they put the balls on. Balls on 36. My mistake.
Number 14, Harry Von Kennel, along with mom and dad, Andy and Allie.
Next would be yards to go, 3, enter,
Enter.
enter.
Now
And
we're
ball on
yard line.
45.
I'll help you with where the ball is.
Okay.
2nd down, whatever. That's all you gotta do.
Number 15, Bradley Stevens, along with mom and dad, Doug and Nancy.
After each quarter, I'll just show you how to do it. I'll show you when this runs out, how to set it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I don't know why Jerry's telling you guys before he said.
Yeah, it don't matter to me. I would.
Because Manfred Dalton told me.
Here's number 16, Doug Somerville, along with mom and dad, Scott and Lynn.
Understood him, so don't say nothing.
I'm not gonna say that.
So Coop, you're good?
But yeah, so that's, and I'll help you with.
Is there one
Well, you tell me right now.
to hit
Don't
just
mess up the
automatic
broadcast
first
and
and
tell
10?
everybody this is-
Next up, number 19, Jack Marr, with his parents, Rob and Susan.
Me and Dalton do that last week, where I told him all this, and before the game was, yeah, I got it, didn't have it, missed everything. He's like, I didn't wanna tell you what
Would
you wanted.
automatically go here.
Like, I'd rather you tell me than just butcher everything.
Please welcome number 20, Sam Hall, along with parents, Thad and Karen.
2 yards, 140. But it does, I don't know why it's not, I got tested the guy.
But it doesn't have one where.
No.
Oh, okay.
Not back.
because I know the one.
Number 22 up next, Robert McElhose, along with Doug and Suzanne.
I'm gonna go tighter on that camera.
Whoop, whoop.
This is easy.
Yeah, so,
Last week Mo was here, he made a big stink. I'm doing the 40 seconds.
Oh, we got it back out.
They don't want you guys.
Here's number 24, James Schwind, along with his parents Scott and Ashley.
Yeah, it's back.
he did, so he left.
The guy with the phone fucking home. He
Yeah,
said,
we
"I'm
have
just
that.
trying to
It's
do the
good, it's
plot.
good.
I'm not doing the rest of that shit." So they called up there, they said, "Don't send me no more." So you got a chair.
So you're telling me I gotta hold it up.
Here's another Herget, number 28, Trevor Herget, along with mom and dad Todd and Nancy.
No officials, I don't know where they were.
AirPod.
Oh, okay, I'll be right back, all right?
Don't worry, we just reloaded. We have a
I'll be
freshman
back
Herget.
15 minutes before
Very
the game
simple.
starts. Okay,
Okay, and I'll tell you, second
Yeah.
down the ball's on the 25.
okay.
We'll get it, so, all right? And
All
this
right.
is easy.
Hey, is it Cyan Levine or Cian?
This is the
Kian
big thing,
Levine.
start
Kian?
stop, but,
Kian.
you know, I'm gonna keep it as, accurate. as
Number
possible.
29, Kian Levine,
I don't know why they all don't have the same clock, you know?
mom and dad Chris and Erin.
And then hopefully it's not gonna be 30 point game where it's
Yeah. Let me see. Field.
third down.
Please welcome number 48,
Go ahead, third down.
Cole Conway,
7 to go.
along with his parents Tom and Sandra.
Auto. Down. 3. And
Ryan Serrano up next,
7.
along with parents Julio and Amy.
46.
You hit auto first, you said? No?
Field.
Field. Yeah,
I'll say fourth down.
fourth down.
Enter. Enter. Now it's gonna jump. Ball's on the yards to go is 5.
Here's number 56, Dash Ross, along with dad David Ross.
And now we're on the 41.
All right. It said once, you hit it twice in between at
Oh,
the end
wait,
there,
you
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Now welcome number 63, Richie Almy, along with parents Rich and Missy.
All right.
Where we are. Like I said, that's easy.
Yeah. What's this, a horn or something?
You don't have to worry about it, but the auto horn is.
I mean, you can skip.
Number
it, but if you want
65, Theo Nadich,
Nice setup.
along with parents Jason and Trish.
I'll be back in a minute, so.
Enor or Enor?
to enter.
Enor?
I think so. Or it might be Enor. It's definitely E something.
Enor or Enor?
I would say Enor.
Yeah, we go.
Next up, number 73, Austin Enor and parents Michael and Sandy.
Wow, we got a lot of seniors.
This is actually low compared to some of the other teams.
How many people are there?
No, we got a lot.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Here's number 76, Duncan Easterbrook,
Like first and 45. Okay.
along with mom and dad Mark and Charla.
Like I said, I'll kind of cue you on that, but
What, we got 30 seniors? Oh, my God.
yeah, I got you.
Number 78, Adam Nelson,
We go Big Red.
along with mom and dad Chris and Debbie.
So
28.
sideline cam, like so.
Please welcome number 7, Captain Leighton Reeser,
Okay, so that's taking the last 5.
along with mom and dad Landon and Christy.
4.
My error. Well, I'm doing something that you don't know. Those dishes have to be. Well, I went to play.
Next up, Captain Jake Wilson, number 12, along with his parents Hank and Lynn.
Is he not playing?
No, he's not playing. Bruce kidney.
Hold more reasons, but it's not going to be close. I could always edit on those first 2 players.
Please welcome Captain number 77, James Tom, along with mom and dad Doug and Allison.
So I think what I'm going to do is I got watch this for what? Oh, jeez. Oh, sorry.
Last but not least, number 92, Captain Jack Barber, along with Greg and Amy.
So like they got a separate channel. Yeah. And as I said to you, they have a button. So basically on their screen they're gonna have one giant circle, which is called.
You don't like Discord?
It's hard to use.
Hey, it's not in the script, but I just want to thank Michelle Cini for running all of this.
But the issue is, like I said,
See
Zoom.
what he thinks. I'm sure he would be.
Would it be possible to use Zoom instead of Discord in the future? I feel like Discord.
Thank you again, guys. Thank you again, parents, on behalf of the entire Darien community. We appreciate you.
It's essentially the same thing, it's open mic, right?
Yep.
That you have to mute or unmute.
Yep. Alright, I'm gonna take your graphics live too first, so don't play anything.
Is there a way we can like bring up this time
Hey,
out
Damien.
and like
Yeah, so click on it, you
Is
drag
this,
it up.
like, I can't make any of my slide comments?
this?
No, this should be under.
Drag it, drag it.
The Darien Foundation was founded in 1998 by Richard and Maureen Chilton, and the thesis behind that founding was to bring technology to the Darien public school systems. And that launched us, and that got us going, and through technology and capital project initiatives, we've now funded over $5.5 million over the last 24 years to build a better Darien.
Our board really likes to get involved and assist the partners that we collaborate with, whether it's a grant for a youth project or a grant from a community service, schools, the police. Often they come to us with ideas that we help them bring to fruition.
The Darien Foundation recently awarded the Darien Police Department 2 grants. One was for laser shot and the other for Faro technology. Laser shot technology is based on decision making. It may come down to using their firearm, but in reality, we would like them to talk the situation down where you use less lethal force, and this program allows us to do that.
Police, drop the gun!
Faro technology gives us a 360-degree view, catching all the points we need to catch in our accident scene. It also takes a lot less time. This allows us to open up roads, get traffic flowing a lot quicker than we ever used to be able to. We can also map the inside of buildings. We can use it at outdoor crime scenes, indoor crime scenes. It's really used for a plethora of investigations. It's a tool that most other departments may not have their hands on just yet, and thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have that technology.
At Home in Darien is a nonprofit organization that helps senior citizens to remain living independently in their home and in the community. We provide important services to help them do so, such as transportation. Thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have this amazing new van, and we are so excited about it and what it'll do for the community.
From all standpoints, this is going to be a real improvement in the services we provide, both in terms of safety and comfort. The Darien Foundation is important to the community in the scope that they reach out to answer needs.
Post 53 is the town's ambulance service. We respond to over 1,600 emergency calls a year. We're a vital service that has been here for 51 years. The technology upgrades provided by the Darien Foundation has been a game changer for us. It's allowed us to improve our training. It has helped us hone our skills. You don't know how important an ambulance is until you actually need it. Thanks to our partnership with the Darien Foundation, who's provided all of this technology and several grants throughout the years, we're able to continue to be prepared, to be well-trained and well-staffed, to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whenever you need it.
The Darien Foundation is really excited to be able to launch a new program for the Darien schools, which will benefit students K through 12 in all 7 schools. This is the new robotics program, which will be an extracurricular opportunity for students to build robots, compete against other leagues, and collaborate together.
Our robotics program is going to benefit students in so many ways. Regular classes, students are always looking for the right answer, that there's only one way to answer something. Robotics is completely different. In robotics, you learn that there are multiple solutions to every problem. You learn that you have these obstacles that you have to overcome. You have to really be a creative problem solver. And most importantly, you need to persevere.
Early on in the process, the Darien Foundation reached out to administration and the offer to provide funding for a project, and it just dovetailed beautifully to the goals of the strategic plan. I look forward to continue to work closely with the Darien Foundation, both on this project and other projects down the line.
We welcome ideas for possible grants. We'd like to do grants that promote and strengthen our community. Sometimes it's from an organization, sometimes it's from our emergency service partners, or it's from the Darien Public Schools. One of our most popular grants, which was the Playground by the Sound, came to us from 4 Darien moms who said, let's get together and figure out how to build this.
Thanks to the generosity of our board members and officers, every dollar you give to the Darien Foundation goes directly to the grants that we're supporting. I invite all of you to help us move our community further and support the Darien Foundation.
DAF Media is actively seeking financial support. Founded in 2017, DAF Media has quickly become Southwestern Connecticut's source for quality sports, arts, and community programming. If you like what you see on the DAF Media Network and want to help us continue to deliver high-quality broadcasts while teaching lifelong STEM, communication, organization, and leadership skills, please email us at sponsor@dafmedia.org. We are a registered 501c3 organization.
Hello and welcome back to DAF Media Network here on Stadium Field for Darien Varsity football between the Darien Blue Wave and the Norwalk Bears. A big game today. It's senior night here in Darien, and for Norwalk, their starting quarterback will not be playing today. Mikey, an important part of this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, Norwalk's going to need all the help they can get. You know, you're coming into this game as a 1-6-1 team. And so to come in with your starting quarterback injured and a little bit of uncertainty at the position is definitely going to take away any advantage that you might have had in this, any advantage that you wanted to look for in this game that they now just don't have.
Yeah, Norwalk coming into this game has never beaten Darien, and they're going to try to stop that streak tonight, but it's going to be very difficult. This Darien team, obviously 4-3, suffering a tough loss last time against Greenwich, and they're definitely going to be motivated coming into today's game. And the Bears have been outscored 243-77 this season, allowing an average of 35 points per game.
Oh yeah, that's going to show how big of a game this is for Darien, because Darien needs to play like they played against Darien. They need to play consistently, and they need to just show that what they had against Greenwich was not a one-time thing, and that they need to play with that same, you know, very quick, very high-speed mentality that they had last game.
And as for the Norwalk Bears, how much do you think a dramatic change? Obviously, Cam Edwards last year, their star quarterback, was one of the biggest parts of this Norwalk offense. He then is now playing UConn for football. So how do you think that's going to impact this Norwalk team with such a dramatic change?
I mean, you've already seen it in their record, right? They're 1-6. You don't come off of a star player 1-6 unless that star player was one of the only things really holding your team up. And so Norwalk has been consistently looking for somebody to replace them, because somebody to replace that hole that Cam Edwards left. They haven't found it yet. Maybe a new quarterback tonight. Maybe there's something we haven't seen before and something the coaching staff hasn't seen before, but we're not sure.
Yeah, definitely. And on the other side, this varsity team for Darien last year only lost one game and it ended up winning the championship. So do you think it's still possible for this same team to get to that caliber like they did last year?
Absolutely. This team has showed consistent improvement over the year. I mean, the Greenwich game last week, other than, you know, a few tough calls and a few being able to finish a few drives, they looked almost as good as they've had this entire year. And so with this consistent improvement, they need to show it today, and they need to get back up to that level that they were last year, but they're actually not as far off as they may seem.
And last week, the offense picked up 26 first downs, and Simeon Dahl had a passing and rushing touchdown, along with Trevor Herget, 11 receptions for 114 yards. There was a spark in that game that you could see that this Darien team was getting back to where they were last year.
Now we're going to the national anthem.
And the flower rises, and this Darien student section is ready to get going.
Oh yeah, they're absolutely hyped. I mean, they coming off a heartbreaking homecoming loss last week. You know, there's a little bit of extra emphasis, I think, put into the flower tonight, and that shows the emphasis they have. They really want this team to win. Everybody's ready for this team to show up and hopefully put up good numbers against Norwalk. And now all we need to do is watch them kick the football.
Definitely. Obviously, senior night here at Darien. We'll try to get all 28 seniors in, hopefully, for this Darien squad. Coaching Mike Forget. As for Greenwich coaching, we have Pete Tucci, as well as Sean Ireland. Both coaches coming in last year, trying to bring this Norwalk team back to where they were. Obviously, talking about Cam Edwards, a star last year. Now a backup quarterback starting with Norwalk today, as Norwalk prepares to kick off and begin this first quarter. And here we go here at Stadium Field. And that kick is going to be spiraling towards and will go out of bounds. The flag is thrown to start this game.
Oh, yep, not the tone you want to set if you're Norwalk. I mean, you're going to have an uphill battle this whole game. You already know that. So to kick it out of bounds, to give an already explosive Darien offense the ball at the 40, actually it looks like the 35. To give an explosive Darien offense the ball at the 35 is not necessarily a bad idea, but a pretty bad mistake.
Simeon Dahl will be leading this Darien team as he has all season. He's had a great year so far. Darien 4-3, looking to move ahead early tonight as they'll begin on the 35-yard line. Simeon Dahl is going to pass short. It's going to be a completion and a first down to start this game off for Darien.
Yeah, I mean, Dahl to Herget is probably something we're going to be seeing a lot of tonight, to be honest. It's good to see Darien start off with that with that short pass. You know, getting the ball out quickly was something Darien did incredibly well against Greenwich. And so obviously you want to start with things you're doing well and then experiment from there. And so Darien's probably going to get their first drive going, rely on their fundamentals, remind themselves, you know, this is how they played against Greenwich, this is them at their top level, and then they can maybe try new things.
Trevor Herget, 11 receptions last game against Greenwich. Simeon Dahl will hand it off. Looks like it's going to be 1, maybe 0 yards. 2 yards, actually, to start this game. And the running attack, we didn't see much of it last week against Greenwich. Maybe they'll use it more tonight against Norwalk.
It's especially going to be interesting because towards the end of the last week against Greenwich, starter Jake Wilson got injured. And so now we have Clifton Shelton out running for Darien. And so it's going to be interesting to see if they rely on Clifton or if they just go to the pass game, which worked well against Greenwich.
And Simeon Dahl going to go outside the numbers. And that is going to be the first completed pass for Isaac McMullen, another senior on this Darien squad, and a great throw from Simeon Dahl. So he laid back in the pocket and delivering a strike to Isaac McMullen to get their second first down of the game.
Good catch by McMullen there, too. He had a little bit of a bobble, but he managed to bring it down, and he's been really good on those contested catches on the sideline, and we saw another good one there.
Darien now in Norwalk territory. Simeon Dahl will roll out to his right. Still looking downfield. The flag is thrown. This one's going to be incomplete. Good coverage from Norwalk. It looks like we're going to have holding on Darien. Most likely when Dahl was rolling out to the right.
Yeah, that's another penalty that you don't want to see, especially because if there's one thing Dahl has shown is that he is a pretty good mobile quarterback. His rollouts have been very nice, and he has been able to throw while rolling out incredibly well this year. And so when you're holding on a rollout, sure, it may help a little bit, but Simeon is fast enough to escape defenders, and so it's actually even more of an egregious penalty on a rollout because Simeon can get away, and there he could, but the hold called him back.
Now we're going to get 3rd and 14. And Darien looking to get another first down, but that holding call really setting them back. As Simeon Dahl try to get them back to that first down marker. He's going to pass in the pocket. This one's going to be tipped and off the hands of Darien, and it will now be 4th down. Not the way that Darien expected this first drive to go.
No, definitely not. And if you're Darien, you got to just shake your head. You know, you got gifted the better field position with the penalty, but you also got to take it away with your hold. And so now you're going to punt, let your defense do their thing, and try again.
And Trevor Herget, also the punter for this Darien squad, and a great punter at that. We'll see what he could do here, trying to pin this Norwalk team back. And the punt is up and away. Norwalk will field it. The tackle is made at around the 20-yard line. And Norwalk now, new starting quarterback coming in for this game. And how do you think this first drive is going to be for Norwalk?
Oh, I mean, this first drive is going to be rough, if we're being completely honest, because it always takes time for a quarterback to come in and sort of get reps with the offense. And it seems like there was a lot of uncertainty over whether or not Captain Sean Brown would start this game. And so potentially our starter is going to be very unready for this here in this first drive.
Norwalk, they're going to start it off with an inside zone run. He's going to get out to the outside. And he's going to continue going. And a first down for Norwalk. And do you expect them in this first and maybe a couple of drives to go more towards the run because of the uncertainty at quarterback?
Oh, absolutely. They're gonna be just pounding the run because that's what they know. That's what you have a starting running back. You don't have a starting quarterback, and so you're gonna run the ball a lot more. But Darien's gonna have to be wise to that, and so Norwalk's gonna have to be careful to not spend too much on the run. We saw last week Darien was very good at stopping the run, and so let's see if they can do that again this week.
Same play as ran, and this time he's gonna be stopped in the backfield. And Darien, like you were saying, this stout defensive line all season. And it looks like we will now move to second down.
Yeah, and the other thing Darien's going to have to keep an eye out for is actually sweeps and runs around the edge, because Hernandez is a pretty fast running back, and that's where they like to operate the best. They have pretty good blocking wide receivers, and so expect a lot of blocking, and a lot of this game is going to be decided by how well the Darien defensive ends can set the edge.
And Norwalk will have their first pass attempt of the game, and it looks like that's a fumble and picked up from Darien. And he's going to run down the sideline and be stopped inside the 5 for an early turnover for this Darien defense.
Great recovery by Barber. I mean, that just goes to show you why he's such an elite, pass rusher. I mean, he got the ball directly. It looked like he got the ball directly out of Rena's hands there, and so you've got to be feeling great about that one if you're Barber. And we're going to see that again from the sideline.
And it looks like the ball just slipped out of his hands. And like we were saying, first pass attempt of the game. Obviously some uncertainty coming into this game at quarterback. And not a good start for Norwalk, but a great play from Darien as they now have a big opportunity to get points on the board.
Yeah, definitely not what you want to see if you're Norwalk.
And Simeon Dahl will take it to the left side. It's going all the way around, and Simeon Dahl will go in for the first touchdown of the game.
Look at that. I mean, he's hyped up. Everyone's hyped up. After a disappointing first drive, Darien's expecting to score a lot of points in this game. You said that Norwalk's been allowing 35 points a game. So after a disappointing first drive, to be able to get that opportunity and capitalize on the first play, that's got to feel great for Dahl. That's got to feel great for the whole offense. But especially that's got to feel great for Jack Barber.
And a big play. Defense obviously coming to offense, and Simeon Dahl able to punch it in as the PAT will come soon. And the first drive for Darien, as you were saying, weren't able to score, and their first play for Norwalk, a 10-yard run, a bit surprising, but then Darien comes back on defense and makes a great play.
So it looks to be some confusion as the play clock winds down to 0. Seems like their special teams unit was not ready, and you can see kicker Tucker Stevens throwing his hands up towards the sideline there. Clearly a big mistake by Darien.
That is going to be a delay of game on Darien. A bit longer of a kick now for Tucker Stevens. We'll see if he could deliver it still.
Tucker Stevens attempting the point after.
And the kick is up. And the kick is good for Darien. 7-0 lead to start this game. And Mikey, now if you're Norwalk in your second drive, what are you trying to do to get back?
I mean, you definitely try to run the ball. I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you that much. If you're Rita, that's a mistake that I don't want to say rookie quarterback, but that's a mistake that somebody who's unready to play quarterback is going to make. They're going to drop the ball on a pass. And so what you have to do is you have to get the run, and you have to get Darien expecting the run. What this does is this gets Darien into a run defense, and then you can use the pass. And then Rena might have a little bit more time to get himself ready to throw, and to make sure he has his hand around the ball when he throws it on forward.
And Trevor Herget will now kick it away for Darien. And the kick is off. This one's going to be close to the sideline. Fumbled by Norwalk. And he's able to get down. No, he's not. And Darien will get a special teams play, firing on all three sides right now. And the fumble is recovered from number 34 of Darien. That is Morgan Rupenstein. Rupenstein, excuse me.
Big mistake from Diaz again. I mean, you cannot give Darien the ball. This game is going to be, if you're Norwalk, Darien's going to be coming in here with a very aggressive offense and a very strong defense. And so to be handing Darien the ball twice in the red zone, That's just not something you can do, and that's not a game-winning strategy.
That was on back-to-back plays. Obviously, we saw the fumble, and now a muffed kick. And Darien, a good job getting out there. I think Norwalk had a chance to recover that one, but he just slipped it back up. And Rupenstein, good awareness jumping on it. And Simeon Dahl will try to get back into the end zone. Dahl's going to roll out. We'll see if he throws this one up. He's going to go short. Pass is completed, and it's going to be another touchdown for the Darien Blue Wave as they go up 13-0 to start this game.
I mean, this is huge if you're Darien, and this is where Norwalk has to remind themselves there is still 4 quarters of football left. You know, you're in a really tough position. You're down 2 scores. You're only 3 minutes in, apologies. But now Norwalk, you cannot let yourself get in your own head. You know, if this team gets into its own head, it's going to cause more fumbles. It's going to give Darien the ball more. Darien's going to score more. You don't want to see that, of course, and Norwalk's now going to have to remind themselves to play how they can.
And Tucker Stevens will make the second PAT of the night, and Darien moves in front 14-0. And now for Norwalk, we were talking about what they could do on offense. Now they just need to field the special teams, and we'll see if they could get back on offense. And you were saying they're definitely going to try to run the ball more, but now down 14-0. It's definitely going to be difficult to come back in this one.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you're going to need to see some lights-out defense from Norwalk, and you got a little bit of a glimpse of that on the 3-and-out, right? Norwalk's defense has shown at least once that they can stop Darien's offense, and so now Norwalk's offense has to come back, and they need to strike quick, strike early, but stay disciplined because you don't want to try too hard and drop the ball again.
Yeah. And the kickoff will be once again made from Darien. Norwalk will try to field this one and get their offense back on the field. The last play they had was the fumble, which was recovered by Jack Barber, and later a rushing touchdown by Simeon Dahl. Had a rushing touchdown last game against Greenwich. Gets another one tonight. And Darien will now begin to kick off. This one's going to the other side now of Norwalk. It will be caught. And Norwalk will get stopped right inside or on the 25-yard line. And Norwalk now a chance, obviously their offense back on the field. And it's going to be an important drive for Norwalk to set the tone. Darien obviously setting it early, going up 14-0. A new quarterback for Norwalk. Definitely want to try to have an impact early.
Oh, of course, and you know it's very cliche to say obviously you want to score because every drive you want to score. But if you're Norwalk here, the most important thing is actually just giving yourself space because you don't want that 3-and-out. That's the last thing you want. Because as we go to the play,
we're going to go straight back to the run like we saw earlier, and this one's going to go for only a couple.
So as I was saying, you want to give your defense some room because they've already shown they can work with some room. But so the one thing you want, first down, a little bit of yardage, and if you need to punt, you want to make sure you can at least get to the punt. Just make it to 4th down, even if that's the least desired outcome. It's better than a fumble, better than a turnover. You just got to be careful with the ball here.
Yeah. Now Norwalk getting ready on 2nd down. Norwalk will go back to the pass, and they're going to go deep early. And actually a fairly good throw from the new quarterback of Norwalk. Looked like it was just great coverage, and it will be an incompletion.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Norwalk needs to stay disciplined because Darien has very good corners. Their coverage has been incredible. It's gotten better as the year has gone on. And so if you don't throw the deep ball to try to be the hero and try to get back in the game really quickly, you want those short passes. Short passes are what's always going to get under coverage and what's going to be a little bit safer, maybe a little bit closer to getting a 3-and-out, but definitely safer.
Norwalk will go back to the pass. Good blitz from Darien. Moving around in the pocket, and will now be a sack. And I think he was down prior to that fumble.
Yeah, I mean, that's just great example of how much pressure Darien can bring. I mean, you see coming in, you have number 11, J.D. Brennan, rushing in, and then more players just tackle on, and he can't escape that. That line completely broke down, and that's a great job by Darien.
swarming defense of Darien, and it will be the first punt of the night for Norwalk.
Yep.
And so far we've seen that, you know, they win with that deep ball, and what happens a lot in these games is that they try to get it back all at once.
Yeah, exactly.
But a lot of the time, you know, it's a game of inches. You got to slowly make your way down, and like you were saying earlier, you know, punting's okay. It's better than a turnover, and we've seen 2 turnovers result in 2 touchdowns so far in this game.
And when you go for the deep ball against a team like Darien, what you're going to get very often is second, third, and long, which is not what you want.
Yeah, on this Darien defense, Robert McElhose has had 2 interceptions in the last 3 games as well.
Oh,
so.
yeah.
It's a difficult task for Norwalk coming into this one, but Darien will start on their own side of the field.
I will say, though, you want to know the good thing about a deep ball interception? Well, it's kind of just like a punt.
That's true.
At that point. Just, it's not 4th down yet, and you obviously want more opportunities. And, I mean, if it's returned, it's returned.
Yeah. And Simeon Dahl once again will try to lead this Darien team back into the end zone. First drive of the game, they were stopped on 4th down around the 50-yard line, so we'll see what Norwalk can do.
This is also the farthest field position they've had thus far, and they've started 4 times already.
Looks like a wide receiver screen to Isaac McMullen, and he's got space. Isaac McMullen will go down the sideline. He's got room. That is going to be a huge gain. A late flag is thrown. And Darien players are walking back. And the referee is calling them to come back. It looks like this one will be on Darien. It was a wide receiver screen to Isaac McMullen, and he had so much space, the huge chunk play, but will be called back. Darien players talking to the referees, trying to understand the call. The first call will be holding on Darien, which is declined. And it looks like holding, or blocking the back was the first one. And they will accept the holding call.
Yeah, again, Darien just cannot hold. You're throwing a screen. Why do you need to hold? I mean, that's obvious, and you know, it's easier said than done, right? But if you're Darien, right, you're throwing the screen. Simeon's a quick quarterback. He's shown he can get the ball out. The hold is definitely not what you want. At that point, go with your shoulder.
And they will go down to the run, and this one will be for 5 yards for Darien. And this Darien team, you know, they know that they could probably get this game done just playing, you know, how this Darien team has played the entire year. And like you've been saying, these penalties are just, you know, they're holding them back early.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, you know, Darien's, I mean, they've already shown they can get short yardage, right? They got those 2 touchdowns, but they're going to need to clean up that O-line play if they want to keep playing dominantly.
And another flag is thrown. And this one looks like maybe will be offsides or false start.
Looks like a Darien receiver was advancing as if he thought that Darien was getting yards here.
But now looks like it will be on Darien for a false start. And there's the call.
False start, Darien.
3rd penalty of the night on Darien.
Unsure if we can see that again because it looked to me like that flag went down on the far side of the field, and it was a receiver actually who jumped off, not a lineman. So I called out the O-line play go, but you know receivers could be called for false start too, and they have to remember that.
2nd down, 21.
And 2nd down and 21 now for Darien as they are backed up pretty far. And Simeon Dahl this time will take it himself. And he's going to be stopped at the line. And now 3rd down and most likely 20 or 21. And this Norwalk defense early, I don't want to say anything before this 3rd down, but they've been able to stop Darien when they can.
Yeah, I mean, give them space, and they can do really well. But the issue is you can't give the ball to Darien in the red zone, right? I mean, Norwalk defense has looked really good. I'm surprised that Darien isn't going to the pass as much because they had that one long pass called back on a penalty, and they've done really well in the pass so far.
And they will go to the pass here. Dahl's going to roll out. He's got a lot of space.
A lot of time, too.
And he's going to slow it down and throw it, and it looks like no flag, or the flag will come out. I was going to say it looked like holding down there.
Interference, actually.
Maybe pass interference.
Looked to me like Herge got pushed in the back there. He was already down on a knee as that ball was coming in, and so we'll see what the penalty is.
Yeah, it's difficult for these cornerbacks when the quarterback rolls out for that long and the corner doesn't know if the ball's out or if he should still be covering. And when Herget, it looked like when he tried to come back. And it looks like they will be advancing.
Yep. So, I mean, you said it best, right? It is very, very difficult for a corner to keep up with the receiver on a long play. Broken plays are very dangerous for corners because, and when you have a quarterback like Dahl who can get out of the pocket and take a lot of time, it's incredibly dangerous because that receiver has a lot of times to juke you out, to fake you out. He can come up with things that's not in the playbook and get away from you, and you saw that there. Corner got beat. He pushed Herget down, and he got flagged for that.
It is still a 3rd down here for Darien. And it looks like they're going to try to air it out here. This is Isaac McMullen, and it's going to be intercepted from this Norwalk defense.
Remember what I said about long pass being like a punt? I mean, that was just sort of a combination of it looked like Dahl was throwing off his back foot there, and the ball did go a little far. And you have McMullen, he just gets too far. He gets too far. Combination of McMullen going too far, ball being a little bit short, and that's a dream for a corner right there.
Yeah. And I think they were looking short to begin with, and you had McMullen going along the sideline. And Dahl, as you were saying, you know, why not just throw it up 3rd down, get some yardage back, and Norwalk still starting behind the 40 of their own field. And we'll see what they could do on offense here.
Yeah, and McMullen's been incredibly good in contested catches, and so if you're Dahl, you're going to want to give it to McMullen. He had one guy, just that corner, and if he made that catch, he would have been home free.
And the throw is out, and some space. It looks like it's just going to be overthrown. A good double move there for number 3 of Norwalk. That is Jamar Alcina. A great play from him, but a difficult throw, and he just missed them by a couple of inches. You could see just out of his hands.
Yeah, I mean, I believe that was Sam Hall. If you're Sam Hall, you are just wiping your brow because let's be honest, just getting beat like that, you always are hoping for that drop.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else. It's in the receiver's hands now.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it wasn't for Norwalk, though.
And Norwalk now on 2nd down. They will go back to the run. They've got some space along the outside, and they will gain a couple of yards. And now we will move to 3rd down. And we've seen the running game attempted from this Norwalk team early. We saw a 10-yard run to start this. And now another deep ball we've seen on this drive. This one very close to being caught, and he had open space from there. It would have been a touchdown, but we'll see what Norwalk will do on 3rd down here.
We got a flag going down now. Looks like it's false start, yeah.
Encroachment, Darien.
Apologies, actually. Encroachment, Darien. I totally had who was on offense and defense there mixed up.
And now, small gain of 2 required for this 1st down. We'll see what Norwalk will do here. Quarterback looking to the sideline. They will call hike, and it's going to be dropped, and I think intercepted along the far sideline for Darien.
I mean, again, you just can't do you cannot do that if you are Norwalk.
And what a play from Darien. It looks like tipped off, and that one's intercepted by Sam Hall of this Darien team, a senior coming in on senior night.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely great play by Hall. Great play by Research, too, to cause that tip. I mean, he jumps up, and he just gets right in Rena's face and causes him to throw that off, and Hall gets that ball. And, you know, again, that's a short interception. That's not your punt right there.
Yeah.
Punt would have been much better for Norwalk.
And now Dahl and the Blue Wave will start off with a quarterback run along the outside. Some good blocking, and they will be able to get the 1st down and more.
Yeah, I mean, incredible blocking. And it's interesting to me that they're going with called quarterback runs. We didn't see a lot of those last week. And, you know, now that, you know, Jake Wilson's out, you're going to have to rely on Simeon. Simeon's a very fast quarterback, and Darien can use him in multiple ways because he is really a dual threat quarterback.
Yeah. As you can see, a shot with the Darien student section here coming and supporting their Darien Blue Wave here on senior night. Darien out to an early 14-0 lead. We'll see what they could do here. Dahl Snaps it. He's looking deep. He's going deep. And that one is going to be another interception from this Norwalk team. And this defense is coming to play tonight.
So the last 3 changes of possession have been turnovers. And not necessarily what we were expecting from this game, I don't think.
I think it was Daniel Sarmiento, number 12.
Unsure of who was the target there. It looked to me like Herget was the target, and he just didn't turn around in time to stop and get that ball.
Yeah, it looks like Dahl was trying to get to Herget, and he throws it, and Herget overruns it a bit, and the ball is coming right over your head. It's difficult to catch that because you either look straight up or you have to move to the left and get to it.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed that Herget actually even just turned around late.
Yeah.
And unsure if that was him thinking that the ball might have been further and he wanted to just get his head down and get a few extra yards before he turned, or if he just wasn't aware that the ball was coming for him.
And Norwalk, now they are put into a difficult spot, but they are going to complete their first pass. And this one will be for, looks like a gain of 6 or 7. And the passing game is still slowly continuing for this Norwalk team, and I think they've put, a decent amount of trust in their starting quarterback today.
Yeah, I mean, more trust than I would have expected after that first fumble. But, clearly Reno must have had a conversation with the coach on the sideline, and he must have said, that wasn't him. He feels more ready than that, and he looks more ready than that. He's made some really nice passes.
They will go back to the running game, and this one, I think, will be able to get them for a first down. And a solid 2 plays there. We saw a 7-yard catch, and it looks like a 6-yard run. And that's exactly what Norwalk's going to want tonight, just the slow, melodical, transversing down the field. And that's what they hope to do to get their first points of tonight's game today.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. You just got to do what you can to get yards, and short passes are going to be safer. I was talking about them all last game, and we'll see what again here.
And there's the screen. And again, just plowing through, and they're able to get solid yards.
Yeah, I mean, Norwalk's looked really good by marching down the field. Darien was expecting Norwalk to be not very good in deep coverage. That's sort of one of the reports that we had that we expected from them coming into this game. And so Darien's been going for the deep ball, and it has not been working. Norwalk, instead, they've made the adjustment. They've switched to short passes. Darien wasn't expecting that because they didn't know who was playing quarterback. And so now Norwalk's in a position where Darien isn't necessarily ready for what they're bringing. And Darien's trying the long ball. It's not working. So Norwalk seems to have what they're doing pretty well.
And Arena will go back, and he's going to go deep here again. One-on-one coverage. This one's up. No penalty called. It looks like Norwalk thinks that he was getting held there. And a good pass from Rena again. They've gone deep now 3 times to start this game.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looked to me like Alcino was the target there, and he was clearly very upset that he didn't get that pass interference call. But, both the receiver and the quarterback there were really, really entangled with each other. Yeah. And so Alcina, he was also pushing off. And so you can't really attribute a pass interference either way. And so that's one of those flags where you just can't throw the flag.
Yeah, exactly. Very difficult for the referee to make that call.
Absolutely. Even if you're right there like that ref was.
And Rena's going to go to the hard count. 3 seconds now on the play clock. And Rena will get it off. They will go to the run, and they will get the first down. And the run game has started to develop for these Norwalk Bears.
Yeah, I mean, actually, speaking of that, it seems to be that the running back is down right now in the field. Oh, no, he's getting back up. It's probably just shaking up. But that's the big thing is when you have a pass game that's effective, so to Darien's surprise, right, that means that Darien's going to over-adjust for the pass, and then you can hit him under with the run. And that's what we just saw right there.
Yeah.
First down, Bear.
And another first down for these Norwalk Bears as they slowly inch forward near the 50. Obviously, they started this drive, I think, in their own 10, and they've made their way down now near the 40.
Yeah, so you see Hernandez walking up the field, his helmet off. It looked like he did sustain some injury throughout that play, and so now we're going to see Norwalk try to go without another player.
And Rena, a dropped interception.
Right into I believe that was right into the gut of Brennan. Yeah, you could see him kicking himself there. You're definitely, if Rena had Barber bearing down on him, I would have made that same mistake too, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he's felt a lot of pressure there, and he just could not get the ball out fast enough. And when he got it out as fast as he could, he went to the wrong player.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, as a linebacker especially, you just don't expect the ball to come straight into you. And this Norwalk Bears team will now look. They're going to go short, and it will be incomplete. And now they will come to 3rd and 10.
Yeah, great coverage there by Jack Maher. And, I mean, he just came right up on that receiver, knocked the ball out of his hands. And, you know, if that receiver wasn't there, he could have also had a J.D. Brennan moment.
Yeah.
But another thing, Rena's taking a lot of pressure. You know, he's not taking hits because he's getting the ball quickly, and that's really good. That's not what you necessarily expect a new quarterback. However, you know, he's feeling the pressure, and it's going to cause him to make mistakes.
I wonder if they'll go deep here on 3rd down. We've seen it so far, and they will try to go for a, looks like 15-yard out route, but it will be good coverage, and it will be incomplete. And a 4th down for this Norwalk Bears team, but I would say a pretty good drive and the best one we've seen so far for Norwalk.
Absolutely. I mean, Norwalk gets out of their own 10. They get up to the 36. A lot of plays, and more importantly, a lot of time taken up off the clock. You know, a lot of games are won or lost by time of possession. And if Darien's going to be throwing the ball away all this time, then the more Norwalk has the ball, the better.
Yeah. And this Norwalk team will now punt it. As you can see, James Schwinn and Ryan Gerlamo back for the Darien Blue Wave. Looks like a short snap, but a great punt. And this one will be received. And he will be taken down at around the 42-yard line for Darien. As they look to get this offense back on track, we saw 2 touchdowns, and both of those touchdowns starting in the red zone. We haven't seen them go from their own side of the field past the 50, so we'll see what they could do here.
Yeah, despite Darien being up 14-0, they haven't looked great on offense, actually. I mean, Norwalk offense looks to be clicking a little bit more. And so let's see if Darien starts to rely on the short ball more than they have been. Because, you know, that worked at the onset of the first few drives, or the first drive. And we'll see what they do now.
Simeon Dahl back in the pocket. He will run it. And will be around a 5-yard game for Clifton Shelton.
Another flag is down on the field, too. I mean, that's the other thing Darien hasn't really been able to escape. I mean, we're unsure if it's Darien or Norwalk here. But a lot of, even Darien's pretty sizable gates, there's been flags down on the play.
And the ball will be moving back. And another holding call on this Darien team. And we didn't see many of those against Greenwich. So very interesting to see a lot of them today so far.
Yeah, unfortunately we didn't have a shot on which player was holding. But to me, if I had to assume what's causing it, or one of the reasons causing it, is that Darien isn't expecting Norwalk's defensive line to bring very much. And Norwalk's defensive line has surprised them thus far this game. And so if you're not expecting a lineman to hit you very hard, and then he does, you all of a sudden need to make a big adjustment, and that generally includes getting your hands in a little bit too tight and holding.
Simeon Dahl now back in the pocket. It will be a pass. He will look deep on the post, and a great play on defense actually from Norwalk. Number 42 of this Norwalk Bears team. That is Savas Coronas.
Yeah, he broke that ball up. Herget wasn't able to come up with it. Gets up a little slow. Yeah, really good coverage there.
Great coverage.
I mean, punches the ball out. He had his fist in the exact right location. I mean, Herget usually has players dead to rights on those balls, right? And instead, can't make a pass. Would have been a really big play for Darien. And now, 2nd and very long.
Dahl, let's see if they will go back to the run here. And a good play from this Norwalk defensive line, as you've been saying early. They've done a great job. And now a third and long as the end of the first quarter comes. Mikey, you know, we've seen this Norwalk team, they have 0 points, but we've now seen a spark on offense. And Darien, 2 touchdowns early in the red zone. What do you think Darien and Norwalk needs to do for Darien to go more ahead and Norwalk to come back in this game?
Norwalk needs to play, just needs to keep going on the ship, right? And so they've been performing very well on defense. They can do a little bit better on offense, but actually I've liked what I've seen so far from Norwalk's offense, all things considered. Darien needs to stay disciplined and needs to just, you know, play a little bit smarter. And a run on 2nd and long isn't going to be necessarily the best decision, especially when you have, especially when you're so long and only have a few downs to go. And so the issue is that Darien needs to stay disciplined. And, you know, you can't always go to the pass. So at some point, the run game's going to have to get going. But they need to stay disciplined on offense and honestly just keep doing what they're doing on defense because, you know, they are giving up more yards than expected. But as long as they keep going with the amount of, you know, defensive play that they've been having, the offense just needs to show up more, and that can give Darien what it needs to win.
Yeah, this Darien team leading 14-0, but those 2 touchdowns came early, and this Darien team now looking to get back to the Norwalk side. Simeon Dahl still at quarterback. And Dahl will roll out to his right. And it looks like he's going to take this one. He's going to be tripped up. And a 4th down for this Darien team.
Yeah, again, not what you want. Darien's been killed by the penalties. And they've been killed by these very long plays where there's just not much they can do. Because when you have it, especially, the worst part about a very long play isn't only that, you know, you have a very long distance to go for the yards, because that's not necessarily an issue. The thing is that the defense knows exactly where they need to stop you. They know that you're going to be risking it all to get the first down. And so actually the issue is this defense is ready for you. And that's where Darien is having a lot of issues.
Will be Herget back to punt. This one's punted away. We've seen trouble on special teams early. This time will just be recovered down at the 31. And this Norwalk team will come back on offense, 0 points. We saw a pretty good drive from Rena last time he was out. We'll see what they could do this time.
Yeah, pretty good field position from Norwalk here. Better than I think they've had, or close to as good as they've had so far this game. And if you're Norwalk here, this is where you want to strike. You want to come back, get fresh quarter. Darien offense has not looked good, and just getting back within striking distance is more than what you want if you're Norwalk.
And Mikey, do you think they'll go back to the deep ball, or do you think they'll continue to go short like they've done?
They'll continue to go short. I mean, I don't think they've connected on the deep ball yet so far. And so if this coach staff knows what they're doing, they're going to go short.
And another run. This one will be for, looks like 4 yards for Hernandez of Norwalk.
Yeah, with Hernandez being back in, that's also big for the Norwalk offense. I was worried because of the way he came off the field that potentially he had taken a head injury, because he came off slowly, but nothing like a big injury. He came off with his helmet off as well. However, that he's back in there opens up the offense even more, gives you 2 dimensions to work with, and the Darien defense just looks like they're going to need to be versatile here.
And Rena of Norwalk back in the pocket. They will throw, and they will go deep again. This one just right in the middle of the field. Looks like he was looking for number 5 of Norwalk. That is Jeremiah Scott. A bit overthrown. And Rena and this Norwalk offense still looking to go a bit medium to deep range, something that they haven't seen success with early, as you stated earlier.
I mean, and also that play was a reminder of why exactly they should not be going deep.
Yeah.
I mean, Rena is a new quarterback, and so you can't fault him for being a little bit inaccurate. But also, there were a lot of Darien defenders then. It was just lucky that they happened to be exactly where the ball wasn't. But you're not always going to be that lucky, and that could be an interception if in a slightly different circumstance.
25% on 3rd down so far this game for the Norwalk Bears. And it looks like a penalty will be called on the Norwalk Bears as well. And now they're in for a long... Oh, it will be 2nd down. The penalty was called on the play. So now a long 2nd down for the team.
One thing to note here is how far the Darien defender on the far side is lining up away from the receiver.
And Arena, this pressure coming back to him. He's going to loft it over, and a great throw. This one's going to be caught from the Norwalk Bears. Racing down the sideline. Jeremiah Scott will be stopped at the 5-yard line. And what a play from Norwalk.
Also an incredible play from Eccles. I mean, that was a really well-designed play on Norwalk's part, and that was a really well-done recovery on Darien's part. And so one of the bigger things that you need to notice there, as I said, Darien's defenders were lined up very far back away from Norwalk's receivers. That means Darien knows they're going to keep going for the deep ball. And, you know, they haven't necessarily seen success, but they've been wanting to use it. And, you know, just there, Darien got burnt on the coverage, and Matt Close did a very good job of coming in, recovering that, and giving Darien an opportunity to get a short stop here.
Yeah. And now Norwalk looks like they're going to be using a timeout here. But a great play from Rena for a huge gain. We will be back on the DAF Media Network. We are going to take a quick break. back on the DAF Media Network here in Norwalk. Their first opportunity to score in the red zone. Last play, a great throw from Rena to Jeremiah Scott for a huge chunk play.
This is a very important play for, or very important 10 yards for Darien. Not only because you don't want to give up points, but also because in the beginning of the season, Darien had a very good goal line defense. And you see there, even they allowed not that many yards. And Darien's had a very, very high-tier goal line defense, and they didn't show up against Greenwich. And so now it's Darien's job to show up and do really well on the goal line.
Yeah, a very difficult spot for Norwalk because with, a new quarterback coming in,
Second and goal from the 3.
A lot of these plays are designed at the goal line for a quarterback that's been in the system. And for Rena, obviously, his first game playing today, they might just go back to a simple run. We'll see it, this Norwalk Bears team inside the 5. And Rena will snap it. They will just go straight up the middle, and he will be stopped. And as Mikey Mercine was stating earlier, this goal line defense, very stout for Darien, as they will stop him as we move to a 3rd down.
And so, yeah, that's really big for Darien. Great stop here. You see it's going to be 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, not 3rd and 2. And you may have noticed on the broadcast, we have been having slight issues with our down and distance marker. Just some difficulties. And so we're going to be trying our best to update you verbally, but there's nothing we can do.
And he will be stopped at the 1-yard line now. They are slowly inching forward. Now, Mikey, a difficult spot for Norwalk, obviously having 0 points, but they haven't been in the red zone. What do you think they'll do here?
If I'm Norwalk, you probably want to go for the touchdown here. You're going to expect Darien to make adjustments. Darien's been incredibly good in the second half. They've been incredibly good at making adjustments, and so you want points now. You have an opportunity that you may not get again, and 3 points isn't going to cut it if you're Norwalk, especially when you're down by 14 so early.
And we've seen this Darien team has struggled early offensively. So even if you don't get it, which Norwalk obviously doesn't want to have done, you will leave the Darien team at the 1-yard line, as Norwalk will use their 2nd timeout of the first half. And a huge play here for Norwalk, a big tone setter.
Absolutely. I mean, 4th down, this is going to be, you're right, it's a tone setter. Darien needs to show that they have that elite goal line defense that didn't show up against Greenwich, and Norwalk has to show that they can get short yardage, that they can play against Darien. They came to play this game. Darien was expecting an easier contest. Norwalk's put up 35 points this year, and so for Norwalk to come down to get the ball into the end zone, for exactly what you want for Norwalk, and Darien's got to stop that.
Yeah, and as for play calling, they've ran it straight inside on 3 straight plays. Do you think they'll go back to the run straight inside, or do you think they'll change it up?
No. They've been pretty good around the edge earlier in the season and throughout the season. And so actually I'm going to expect something around the edge here. You can see that there's a few receivers out on the right side, but they do have, it looks like different linemen on the interior, so who knows.
And they will run it, and it will be close at the goal line. No signal yet from the refs. And he will be marked short as of right now. And this Darien team with a stout goal line stand.
Absolutely. That's absolutely what you want to see if you're Darien. I mean, just a wall of bodies. Darien's a big team, and they don't ever get outside. They don't usually get outside. They did against Greenwich. But Darien just a really good job getting ready for that inside run and just knowing to pile bodies on, make that pile a Darien-friendly pile, and really good stop. And now Darien needs to avoid giving up 2 points.
And a big play, 71 for Darien. Carter Hagan just getting right in there, stuffing the center up. Darien needing to get out of the end zone. Whistle is blown early. And I think another timeout will be used.
Interesting choice to take 3 timeouts in 4 plays by Norwalk. I mean, first half timeouts are a little bit more flexible, and most coaches don't fully use their first half timeouts, so in the end, probably a good idea.
Yeah.
But Norwalk clearly wasn't ready. They didn't like something that they had seen. But this is also going to give Darien a chance to maybe change up the play call, see what defense they just had come out here, and go for something a little bit more tricky.
And for Darien, you think a run or a pass coming out of here? On the 1 yard line, obviously at risk of a safety.
I think that we're gonna see a rollout from Dahl, and you're gonna have Herget available semi-deep, and you're gonna have McMullen available near the sideline. Both players where they play best. Dahl's going to be able to get that ball out quickly because he's quite good at getting the ball out quickly, and him rolling out is going to give him space.
Oh, all right. We'll see what happens here. Darien on the 1 yard line. Simeon Dahl back there with Shelton. Let's see what the Darien Blue Wave has in store. And they will pass it, and they will go short. It is a slant, and this one is caught. He has space. He keeps going, and he has speed all the way. 99 yards, and the Darien Blue Wave will score. Wow.
Would you consider a 99-yard reception to be semi-deep? Because if it is, I'd say that I was right on that. I mean, Dahl didn't really roll out, and I mean, what a play from Darien, and a heartbreaker if you're Norwalk. I mean, great play from Herget. Very good job, and he shows what he does really well. He can see he has really good field vision. We're going to see this play again, and you're going to see that Herget runs exactly where he needs to. He runs exactly where he needs to get away from all the players. He runs exactly where he needs to get away and to get out into open space. And now we have the PAT coming on from Tucker Stevens, and Darien's looking to make this a 3-point game. All right, if you're Darien right now, you have such a big difference. You have such a change, and so this is going to give you a lot of good feelings if you're Darien, because the Darien offense is really good, and the Darien offense has done a very good job throughout the year of scoring. And so to be slowed down by this really weak Norwalk defense is a big problem. So now we're going to see Darien.
And for Darien, now kicking the ball off. Obviously a 99-yard touchdown. And a big play from Darien, obviously moving up 21-0 early. And Simeon Dahl, you were talking about the vision. A great play from Herget in such speed. We've seen him against Greenwich, 11 receptions. And now Isaac McMullen will kick off. And he will be slowly moved. The pile is moving.
Wow, the pile's really moving.
And inside the 40, it looks like.
Yeah, and that's a good example of both offenses and defenses seem to be warmed up here. We had a lot of mistakes early, fumbles, interceptions, right? But now 99-yard reception, and also a really good return coming from the special teams unit that fumbled the ball in their own red zone a few drives ago.
And now Norwalk, obviously it's tough for this offense. They got down to the 1 yard line, and then all 99 yards were scooped up in one play. So now
it's demoralizing.
Inside the 40, let's see what Rena could do. And they will start with the run. And it will be a couple of yards. And this Norwalk team, we've seen them go deep. We've seen them run the ball. We've seen a lot of looks, especially for the first game for new quarterback of Norwalk.
Here's the thing that's interesting for Norwalk is we've seen a lot of looks, and let's be honest, they're down 21-0. They haven't looked great, but they've looked good, and that's the thing. Is all of the looks we've seen, they've gotten, 9 yards. They've gotten close to where they need to be, but they had the same issue that Darien did last week, which was having trouble finishing.
And Rena will go to the outside, a good pass. This one's going to be for around 6 yards. And they will now make it an easier third down, and it's something that they've definitely aimed to do all night. Slowly inch forward, get these easier third downs. They are 20%, as you can see on the graphic. So we'll see what happens here.
Yeah, and 1 for 5. That 1 for 5 also, they've had very long third down attempts. They've had issues with their completions, and so we'll see if Darien can make a shorter third down stop here.
And Arena, he will go long. We've seen this all night, and just great defense from Darien. You can see he was just taped on him with coverage.
Oh, absolutely. And an incredible play by that corner to keep his hands up. I mean, you're going to always look for the penalty if you're a receiver and you know that you have no chance of catching that. And so he keeps his hands up. That does two things. First of all, it prevents the receiver from throwing his own hands up to sort of make the catch. And it also just completely blocks out his view of the ball. And so that was really good coverage, and probably not the wisest move by Norwalk to go for the deep ball when you only need 3 or 4 yards, and you've had some success with that so far this game.
And Norwalk now on 4th down. They have the offense still out there. I wonder if they're just trying to get an offsides call.
If they do, they're going to have to take a delay of game here because they don't have any timeouts.
Yeah, it's a good point. And it looks like they will take the delay of game.
Yep, they took the delay of game. I mean, interesting call. If it were me, this Darien defense has been incredibly disciplined on, you know, neutral zone infractions and offsides. And so you probably wanted to kick. I would have rather taken the 5 yards pushing Darien back than potentially 5 yards given to them for the chance of getting that first down.
And Norwalk now will bring out the punting unit on 4th down. Got around 5 minutes left in the second quarter. And, you know, we've seen signs of hope for Norwalk early, but when a 99-yard touchdown comes after going for it on 4th and not getting it, you know, it's pretty difficult for this team.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's heartbreaking to say the least because, you know, the worst part about it is they were 1 yard away from it being 14-7.
Yeah.
And now it's 21-0.
A good return along the outside for Darien, and he's going to stay in bounds. And he's going to continue going and tackled at the 20-yard line. And the special teams for Darien has been outstanding so far.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, really big, really energetic. I mean, you can hear just how loud people are getting around us. You know, really big play for Darien, really energy-inducing. And if you're Schwinn, you got to feel especially great about that because he gets to tiptoe the sideline right in front of his team. It's a little bit of a show-off, and everybody gets to see just how good he is at walking the tightrope.
Yeah. And it looks like, I thought he was going out of bounds at least, but he stays in, and just great awareness and a great play for Darien as they just are slowly getting back into the regular groove that we've seen from this team.
Yeah, Darien's starting to look like the team that almost beat Greenwich.
Simeon Dahl will hand it off early for, looks like a 1 yard gain there.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have 2nd and 8 about. Respectable. Darien's still having trouble with my one worry, if you will, is Darien's having trouble on the run game because you don't want to get too one-dimensional. And Darien's had incredible success in the past. But if you get too one-dimensional, Norwalk's going to be able to really adjust. And so Darien's going to have to run the ball on those first downs just to try something.
And Dahl will go outside. A good catch is made. And that one will be a first down right on the line at least. We'll see where the referees mark it.
I believe it was McGuckin's first catch of the game. And good for first down here. This is another thing that we saw against Greenwich that we're starting to see against Norwalk. Darien has a really good job. They have a lot of really good receivers. You know, we've got McBride with touchdown pass. You've got Herget with touchdown pass. Now McGuckin with the target, and with the reception. And McMullen's also been getting targets and receptions. Darien's been very versatile with the receivers.
You can see a great play from Norwalk reading this read option.
Gilchrist on the blitz.
Number 53, and that is Brendan Gilchrist, this captain of this Norwalk defense. A great play, and it's difficult to read those read options, and especially with a quarterback like Simeon Dahl, it's a very powerful play if they don't get it right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That was definitely the right play if you're Darien or if you're Norwalk there. Very good awareness. In Darien trying to get one out on you that they've been succeeded with that quarterback sweep and they couldn't there.
And Dahl will look for the slant again. I mean, only 5 yards there, but if you look at that again, what a great catch, getting his hands under the ball there.
Really nice throw, really nice catch. I mean, we had a great angle of it here. Picorni just gets that ball right in his hands. He almost drops it too, but he brings it up with his left hand. And again, another new player to getting the ball.
Brady Picorni with the reception.
And that is Brady Picorni. Now on third down, we've seen Darien hasn't converted the third down, but they do have 21 points.
Yeah, I mean, not converting the third down isn't necessarily big when you're scoring on a lot of second downs and getting a lot of first downs there.
And Dahl will roll out to the left. And it will be fourth down.
So we'll see if Darien decides to send out the kicking unit. It looks like helmets are going on the sideline, and so I believe they will be. Probably the right move. Just get another possession difference. You don't need the touchdown here. But it looks like there's confusion.
And Darien, Simeon Dahl, and this Blue Wave offense looks to be staying out there for now.
remember what I said about using your timeouts? What might happen here is Darien might just be trying to call Norwalk offsides because that should be on my first down. No.
And they will go straight into it. They're going to go outside. And it will be a touchdown for the Darien Blue Wave. And as you're saying with the timeouts, Norwalk coming out there maybe thinking, oh, they're just going to go for the fake snap, and they call hike. And it's difficult because, Norwalk, I mean, you could explain more on it.
Yeah, I mean, you see, actually, Norwalk was surprisingly not slow off the draw there. I would have expected them to because, as you said, you go out here, the kicking unit looked like they were getting ready to go out. And so if you're Norwalk's defense, you're thinking, oh, they're going to fake us out. But Norwalk actually managed to respond to that quickly, got off the draw, but, just such a fast pass from Dahl there.
And Tucker Stevens will hit it in again. 28-0 now. Simeon Dahl on the 4th down to Isaac McMullen. And that's 3 different touchdowns from this wide receiving core. You've been talking about it all night.
Yeah, I mean, McMullen has a touchdown. Herget has the longest touchdown. And now, and McBride had a touchdown. McBride hasn't even played most of the year.
Yeah.
And so this Darien wide receiving core, that shows you 2 things. First of all, how just widely talented this Darien wide receiver core is, and also how disciplined Dahl is with his targets. A lot of, when you have a player like Herget, who's a complete game changer, right, you sometimes get really lulled into wanting to just throw to Herget, throw to Herget, throw to Herget. But no, Dahl's gone through his progressions very well, and he has found receivers that are open regardless of what number they're wearing.
Yeah.
And that shows a lot of really good and really, high-level play from Simeon Dahl.
Simeon Dahl off to a good start in this game. There is 2 interceptions thrown, but recently we've seen 2 great touchdowns and 2 great drives now from Darien as they kick off. Norwalk now down 28-0, still looking for their first points of the game. And they will get another pretty good return on special teams. This one's going to be towards the 33-yard line. And quarterback Mason Rena, will come out for Norwalk. And, we've seen a lot of different looks from this offense, and, we don't really know what's going on because it's a new quarterback, and it's difficult for this Norwalk team.
And Norwalk's shown a little bit of success with everything, but not enough. And that's very frustrating for actually both Darien and Norwalk. Because if you're Norwalk, you don't know what's going to work. But if you're Darien, anything could work at any given time, so you need to be ready for anything.
And they will go back to the run, and the run will go for 6 yards. We have seen sparks on the running game. Hernandez, a big part of this Norwalk offense so far. And now it will be second and what looks like 4 yards.
2nd and 4.
And Mason Rena will look to the sideline. It's going to be a good throw and catch and a solid play for Norwalk, and they do get another first down.
I mean, I really like that play. I'm a big short pass guy. I've talked about it a lot. But just getting that pass, that's the call that you want because Darien's corners have been very far back. They've been giving the receivers a lot of room, and you can see here they're standing 7-8 yards away from these receivers, and so a quick slant is perfect. And looks like there was some confusion there. Rita jumping back. I don't know if I've ever seen a quarterback be the one with the false start.
And the referees still talking. They did
not throw a flag at all. Unsure if that was what that was.
And it looks like we're all just gonna forget what just
Take
happened.
a redo.
Yeah.
They're gonna call it a play because it's now 2nd down. But so I guess it's a play for no yards there.
Yeah. All right. Well, Mason Rena will now pass, and he's gonna go deep again on the sideline. And just smothering defense. We've seen it all night from these corners.
Yeah, really good. Again, hands out, very wide stance. And Rena's got to be a little bit more disciplined than that. Because, again, the deep ball's enticing. And a lot of quarterbacks have been, a lot of quarterbacks get sort of lulled into wanting deep ball, wanting that 99-yard reception, right? But he just threw to a receiver that was really, really covered there. Kind of hoping that he could get the separation, but, hope doesn't win football games.
And, as you've said, we've seen it all night. They're going deep, one-on-one coverage. It could be good, but now that's, more than 5 passes that we've had deep and not 1 completion. They will try to go short here.
And the one, completion that we did have was stopped by McElhose really far on the 9-yard line, too.
Yeah.
And so, we have these very fast corners that Darien has. And so the deep ball's never going to be fully safe. And so, interesting choice to try to throw as deep as they have. We'll see how Norwalk decides to change that in the half as they go to pump.
Punting now is Andrew Hernandez for this Norwalk team. Darien leading 28-0. Touchdowns from 4 different players. We had Simeon Dahl with the rushing touchdown, Liam McBride receiving, Isaac McMillan receiving, and Trevor Herget had a 99-yard touchdown as they punted away. And special teams has been good for Darien so far this game. Getting shifty in the back. He will get tackled now inside of the 30-yard line.
Yeah, that's prime McMullen right there. He loves to get a little shifty with any defense, and really good juke. Unfortunately, he just couldn't find open space. I mean, just look at that cut. That would have thrown me off. Number 20 just gets completely beat here, but he manages to get the arm out, and really good job by both sides there. And now Darien just has 30 seconds to try to score before Norwalk gets the ball after the half.
Yeah, around 30 seconds left, 3 timeouts. Do you think they'll go deep here? What do you think is the approach?
No, just run it.
Yep.
Short passes. You don't need the extra score particularly.
And just as you said, they will run it. Looks like a helmet is off.
Lifting Shelton up the middle.
I believe that might have been Shelton's longest run as well. And so if now is the time to find your groove is running, this perfectly works.
This time Dahl will take it, and he will have some space, but the time will expire. 2 great runs. Darien leading 28-0 at halftime. Mikey, what have you seen from both teams so far tonight?
Adjustments. Norwalk came out here looking a little bit better than Darien, but Darien is just, coming into the second quarter, you'd almost think it was halftime with how quickly they just switched it on, right? And so Darien came out, they started playing really well in the passing game, whereas before some balls were overthrown, and Norwalk just hasn't been able to put together the drives that they've needed to. They've gotten close, but this is a game of inches. And I said, it's not a game of hope. Rena, you're going to get this as a new quarterback. Rena's throwing a lot of deep balls, hoping he gets to put something together, and Norwalk just hasn't been able to so far this game.
Yeah, so far 28-0 right now coming into halftime.
Yeah, and so one final shout out. We're going to shout out to Darien resident Doug Wilson, watching all the way from Waffle Island, Canada. I don't know how much these broadcasts get international attention, but definitely a lot of really fun. I mean, you can see sitting down with a drink and the game all the way in countries, hopefully all across the world.
Yeah, perfect Friday night. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, absolutely.
Darien leading 28-0 coming into halftime. We'll be back on the DAF Media Network.
The Darien Foundation was founded in 1998 by Richard and Maureen Chilton, and the thesis behind that founding was to bring technology to the Darien public school systems. And that launched us, and that got us going, and through technology and capital project initiatives, we've now funded over $5.5 million over the last 24 years to build a better Darien.
Our board really likes to get involved and assist the partners that we collaborate with, whether it's a grant for a youth project or a grant from a community service, schools, the police. Often they come to us with ideas that we help them bring to fruition.
The Darien Foundation recently awarded the Darien Police Department 2 grants. One was for laser shot and the other for Faro technology. Laser shot technology is based on decision making. It may come down to using their firearm, but in reality, we would like them to talk the situation down where you use less lethal force, and this program allows us to do that.
Police, drop the gun!
Faro technology gives us a 360-degree view, catching all the points we need to catch in our accident scene. It also takes a lot less time. This allows us to open up roads, get traffic flowing a lot quicker than we ever used to be able to. We can also map the inside of buildings. We can use it at outdoor crime scenes, indoor crime scenes. It's really used for a plethora of investigations. It's a tool that most other departments may not have their hands on just yet, and thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have that technology.
At Home in Darien is a nonprofit organization that helps senior citizens to remain living independently in their home and in the community. We provide important services to help them do so, such as transportation. Thanks to the Darien Foundation, we have this amazing new van, and we are so excited about it and what it'll do for the community.
From all standpoints, this is going to be a real improvement in the services we provide, both in terms of safety and comfort. The Darien Foundation is important to the community in the scope that they reach out to answer needs.
Post 53 is the town's ambulance service. We respond to over 1,600 emergency calls a year. We're a vital service that has been here for 51 years. The technology upgrades provided by the Darien Foundation has been a game changer for us. It's allowed us to improve our training. It has helped us hone our skills. You don't know how important an ambulance is until you actually need it. Thanks to our partnership with the Darien Foundation, who's provided all this technology and several grants throughout the years, we're able to continue to be prepared, to be well-trained and well-staffed, to respond 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, whenever you need it.
The Darien Foundation is really excited to be able to launch a new program for the Darien schools, which will benefit students K through 12 in all 7 schools. This is the new robotics program, which will be an extracurricular opportunity for students to build robots, compete against other leagues, and collaborate together.
Our robotics program is going to benefit students in so many ways. In regular classes, students are always looking for the right answer, that there's only one way to answer something. Robotics is completely different. In robotics, you learn that there are multiple solutions to every problem. You learn that you have these obstacles that you have to overcome. You have to really be a creative problem solver. And most importantly, you need to persevere.
Early on in the process, the Darien Foundation reached out to administration and they offered to provide funding for a project, and it just dovetailed beautifully to the goals of the strategic plan. I look forward to continue to work closely with the Darien Foundation, both on this project and other projects down the line.
We welcome ideas for possible grants. We'd like to do grants that promote and strengthen our community. Sometimes it's from an organization, sometimes it's from our emergency service partners, or it's from the Darien Public Schools. One of our most popular grants, which was the Playground by the Sound, came to us from 4 Darien moms who said, let's get together and figure out how to build this.
Thanks to the generosity of our board members and officers, every dollar you give to the Darien Foundation goes directly to the grants that we're supporting. I invite all of you to help us move our community further and support the Darien Foundation.
DAF Media is actively seeking financial support. Founded in 2017, DAF Media has quickly become Southwestern Connecticut's source for quality sports, arts, and community programming. If you like what you see on the DAF Media Network and want to help us continue to deliver high-quality broadcasts while teaching lifelong STEM, communication, organization, and leadership skills, please email us at sponsor@dafmedia.org. We are a registered 501c3 organization.
Hello and welcome back to the DAF Media Network here at Stadium Field on senior night. Darien Blue Wave leading 28-0 at the end of this first half, beginning the second half now. Norwalk, you know, we saw some spark earlier, but now we're going to look at our FCAC scores around the FCAC. Staples just dominating West Hill. The Staples team has been deadly.
Oh, absolutely.
And Trumbull leading 14-7 at halftime. New Canaan 21-7 at halftime. And Wilton leading Ward 14-0 at halftime. Now we're going to get back to our game here on senior night, Stadium Field. Darien leading 28-0. So you can see this Darien bench, they're eager to get back on the field.
Interesting thing to note is that Norwalk is not out yet. They haven't come out of their locker room. Now they're trudging out. Looks like heads are kind of hung. And understandably, to be down 28-0 at half is definitely not what you hope for as a coach. But Norwalk's going to come in here. They have to realize, and this is probably what was said time and time again, you know, in the locker room. They played as good as you can for losing 28-0. You know, there were moments where it was very close to being 14-7, right? You know, 2 plays away. 2 plays that they unfortunately couldn't finish, but 2 plays nonetheless. And so what you really like to see if you're Norwalk is you like to see that you're getting close. And you need to remind the players, and the players need to remind themselves that they have been getting close and that they are doing well. It's just that they're probably doing a little bit better than the scoreboard is showing.
Yeah, I mean, and this not only does Norwalk have a backup quarterback playing, but this is a 1-6 team. You know, they haven't been playing as they expected this season. Obviously, they had a great season last year, and now coming into today's game, a backup quarterback are down 28-0. But as you were saying, they are still, you know, they're in this game, and I think they could, you know, maybe not come back, but they could definitely show some spark, maybe get a better look than 28-0 at the end of today.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you know, you also, if you're Darien, you're hoping. Looks like I'm going to assume that we're not going to get all our starters out today, especially on senior night, right? We're going to see a lot of seniors getting play, and so if you're Darien or if you're Norwalk, you're going to know that Darien's starters aren't going to come out. So what you want to do, you get the ball early, hit them hard, hit them fast. I say that a lot, but in this case, you want to abuse the fact that they don't have their starters in, and you want to make the Darien coaches make a mistake, because there's a potential that, you know, you don't ever really want to take your starters out and then have to put them back in. And it's almost like not necessarily admitting defeat, but admitting that you sort of let the game get away from you. And so if you're Norwalk, what you really want to do here is you want to abuse the fact that Darien starters are probably going to be out and come up to play against Darien's second string, because Norwalk's already showed they can play against Darien's starters. And so we'll see how they can do just coming out of the half.
Norwalk, I'm pretty sure, kicked off first, and we'll see Coach Forget of Darien. Obviously, they want to keep this lead and keep it large, as you know, it is a 1-6 team going against a 4-3 team, Darien. We've been talking about their game against Greenwich all throughout today's broadcast. It was a big one. They did lose that game, and a big bounce-back game today against Norwalk. Hopefully, Darien comes away with the W, as they are, you know, they want to bounce back in the FCAC.
Yeah, and I hinted it earlier in the game, but Darien has really shown you wanted them to show a lot of the things that they had done well last week. You wanted them to show that they could do them again, that it wasn't just a one-time thing. And for the most part, I think we've seen that. The Darien coverage, especially against the deep ball, has been very good. And Darien has been playing really well in the past game. They were a little bit slow to start, but now they've gotten themselves moving. They're ready to go, and they look pretty good.
And we will make our way towards kickoff. It will be Darien kicking off to the Norwalk Bears. Trevor Herget kicking off. Trevor Herget earlier in this game, 99-yard touchdown on the first play. And that was a tough spot for Norwalk. You know, we were talking about it. They drove down the field, got all the way down to the 1-yard line, went for it on 4th down, and they ended up not getting it. And on the first play, Simeon Dahl and Trevor Herget connected on a slant that went for 99 yards for a touchdown. But nonetheless, this Norwalk team will be receiving, and they aim to get their first points of the game in their first drive.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not to be understated that with that drive that they had, where they had the 99-yard play on the first play, you know, they're really close to a safety there, and another muffed kickoff.
This one is gathered, and it looks like Darien is on top of it. We'll see what the official call is.
Shades of the first quarter here.
Yeah, and this is, you know, coming right into the second half. This is just not
Dahl's coming out, so it looks like Darien thinks that they know what happened. And let's see if we can see this again from the sideline. Oh, yeah, just right. A lot of Darien players on that. I believe that's Darien's ball. And those are mistakes you can't make. You know, I just said, you know, you're going to have, you need to strike quickly, and you need to be able to strike, you need to have your offense on the field. And most teams do, and so really big mistake there.
Yeah, that's the second fumble that we've seen on the special teams, and Simeon Dahl will roll out on the first play. And he will keep it, and he will continue to run. He's got space, and he's got blockers. That's going to be a nice run for around 10 yards to start this drive for Darien.
Because show what a great quarterback he is. And again, I mentioned earlier Herget having really good field vision. Watch Dahl here. He's very, very able to get around. I believe that's number 8. That's number 8, Anderson Simon. And so Dahl's able to get around Simon, and he's able to know when to set the edge and when to cut. He doesn't cut very often. He does like getting around the edge because he knows he's quick. But he's very smart when it comes to running, and that's something you don't see with a lot of quarterbacks.
And Simeon Dahl, already a rushing touchdown today, is going to look, and he's going to throw inside for Darien. This one's going to be close to the goal line. He did extend. Referees haven't made a call yet.
Looks like
and they will call a touchdown from the sideline judges.
Heartbreaker for Norwalk. I mean, just because the thing is, you come out of half, you always are taking a different mindset, but it's very easy to get reminded of everything you were thinking for the first half of the game, right? And so to come out here to have a fumble and to immediately allow, or not immediately, but to allow Darien to score shortly thereafter, you're reminded to how you were feeling in the first quarter of this game when Darien's up 14-0 very quickly, and now it's 35-0, and that's a really big hill to climb.
And Tucker Stevens will attempt the PAT, and I think not only did that show some of Norwalk's flaws, but it showed this Darien team. That was another touchdown by a different receiver, Brady BcCorney, with that one.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I mean, if you're Darien, and if you're any team now that you're watching film on this game, because sometimes blowouts aren't the best games to get film on, but if you're watching film on this game and on the past few games, it really tells you that Darien has a lot of reception weapons, and there's no clear wide receiver one. I mean, I remember earlier in the year, you know, it seemed like McBride was going to be the wide receiver one, and then he gets injured. And so a lot of people were asking themselves, you know, who is wide receiver one? Some people thought it would be, you know, multiple different receivers. Nobody thought it would be Herget because he was playing defense at the time. And it's nobody now. I mean, every receiver, Herget might get more looks than most of the other receivers, but every receiver is getting the ball. Every receiver, or a lot of the receivers, had touchdowns in this game. And, you know, the wealth of the ball has been distributed very evenly, and that's so difficult for defenses to adjust to.
And Darien will kick off, now leading 35-0. And this one is handled well for Norwalk. What a great tackle from this Darien defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a huge hit, and that's another hit that, yeah, that shows the difference in energy that these two teams have had. I mean, 30's having trouble. That's going to be Covington has trouble getting off the gate, and he just gets hit really hard. And a helmet-to-helmet, which is, you know, definitely you don't want to see that. But Darien comes in very hard, very fast, really good hit, and kind of just been indicative of the whole game.
And Norwalk now coming on offense. They fumbled the original kick. And Darien, as we saw, able to score off of that. Now Norwalk will try to get some points on the board. They will aim to run the ball here, and this Darien defense is, like you were just saying, the energy is still so high in the second half.
But, I mean, really good run by Hernandez because, you know, you need to have energy if you're at Norwalk. And to sort of throw in the towel, to not run hard, is just going to doom you. And so Hernandez keeps going up. He stays up. It took him about 10 seconds to take him down. And that's a good sign if you're Norwalk because you know that you still have some life in you, regardless of how much is being drained out.
And Mason Rena of Norwalk will now aim to pass the ball. He rolls out to his left. And this one's just not going to be able to find the hands of a Norwalk receiver. A good look. Just Rena wasn't able to get there.
Yeah, I mean, another rollout pass. Another rollout pass, really short pass. Nice try, and he did not make the completion. And now you have 3rd and long, and Norwalk is they're 1 for 7. And as I said, they've been getting killed on 3rd and long. We're probably going to see the deep ball here.
Yeah, we've seen the deep ball plenty of times so far, and it's only worked on kind of that makeshift one here. But they actually will go out, and this one is going to be intercepted from Darien and taken back to the house. And what a great play from Darien.
Touchdown, Darien.
It's going to be a pick 6 from A.J. Kelly. And you're just giving up so many points. That's, apologies. Pick 6 from Mac McGarren. But so many mistakes from Norwalk. I mean, they've given up 4 whole scores against Darien. Basically, you had 3 touchdowns within the red zone, and then you have the pick 6, and that's just not. That's such a disadvantage to your
in the defense. And now they will kick off once again to Norwalk. And Norwalk still 0 points. We'll see what happens on this drive. Mason Rena, the quarterback, the second string quarterback at that, coming in to replace for Norwalk, and it's just, it's been tough for this team to find offense, and we've seen sparks throughout the game. We keep saying that, but it's been difficult, and we'll see what happens in this next drive, but this Darien team has been dominant.
I mean, yeah, I think dominant's definitely the word of choice for me too, and Norwalk just needs to minimize the mistakes. They're tired out being out there on offense, right? You could tell they're just, they play both ways too. That's another thing that I haven't brought up so far today, and I'm usually the first one to point it out. They play both ways. They're not doing very well, and as you can say, they're having a little bit of trouble on special teams.
And this one will be returned, and will be down around the 30-yard line.
That's also the interesting thing about Norwalk special teams, is that they've had muff punts, they've had fumbles, but they also are they're getting the ball out a little further than Darien has been on the initial receptions. And so they've looked good. It's just they've also looked really bad. And I think the key for this Norwalk team for this year and in the future is going to be mitigating your mistakes, because you're not always going to have that star player. But this team, you could see well coached. You can see they're well coached. There's a lot of points where having a backup coming in and showing up well is a really good thing, but they're just making too many mistakes.
And it will be a run here for Norwalk. This one's going to go for around 5.
Jaden Diaz gets the
Jaden
ball
Diaz
in the
coming in,
backfield, number 20.
running the ball for Norwalk. And it's a tough spot to be in for Norwalk, down 42-0. Obviously, pretty unmotivated, but we'll see what they do. Obviously, looking for their first points of the night, and Mason Rena trying to lead them there. And the whistle will be blown early. And there's a flag on the far sideline. And it will be offsides against Darien.
Interesting that the whistle's blown. I thought that offsides normally were free plays. So, but regardless, it gives you the yardage you wanted. You're just running up the middle. I'm not sure necessarily how much them being able to run the play would have affected that.
First down, 10, ball on the 41.
But so now Norwalk, another first down. They haven't been great on third down there, second and third down. And so now they have another opportunity.
So you can still see some of these Darien fans and parents still supporting this Darien team on senior night. Mason Rena now will snap it. That one looked a bit high, but a good run play. And they will go for around 5 yards once again.
Diaz across midfield.
I mean, you see, this running game looks different. Now that Diaz is out, we haven't seen Diaz so far running the ball. And they're getting more yardage. I don't know if necessarily, I don't know if Hernandez is not feeling very well. I saw him come off more than once. And so, but Diaz has looked really good. And we're seeing a side of Norwalk that we haven't seen. They hadn't really had a nice, semi-consistent 5-yard play up until this point, and now they have this run with Diaz.
And they will give it back to Diaz. And what a hit from Darien. This team, they are big. You can see them visually against this Norwalk team. They are a very large team, very muscular, and they've been able to show it on the defensive side.
Also, watch this tackle by 29, Kean Levine. That's such a really you saw the way that Diaz spun. That's a very textbook tackle there from Levine, and really nice look as it's now 3rd and 4.
You see on the screen 12% on third downs for this Norwalk team, and a full-out blitz is coming in, and Diaz is unable to bring it in on the screen. And Norwalk most likely will bring out the punting unit they might go for here.
That'll bring up 4th down, 4.
It is 4th and 4. Mikey, what do you think they'll go with?
I think seeing as I'm not seeing much movement on the sideline, Diaz is staying out there, or both Diaz and Rena are staying out there, I'm going to assume they're going to go for it on 4th and 4. expect to see them just give the ball to Diaz again. That seems to be working. The last thing you want to hope if you're a Norwalk fan is for that deep ball again.
And they will go with the play action, and just a great play on the Darien defense. That is number 54 of this Darien team, Walker Brown, getting his hands up and getting the stop. See him come around the right side of the line and right on the palm.
Darien takes over on down.
Yeah, I mean, he got really good extension there. A lot of players wouldn't be able to make that call, but he gets his hand up right where he needs to, makes the crucial stop, and gives Darien another possession in Norwalk territory.
And Darien now up 42-0. They are on the Norwalk side of the field. Simeon Dahl still out there. And Dahl will snap it. He's going to look to the left side for the screen. This one is brought in. And a good tackle from Norwalk. It will be a gain of 4.
With a nice stop on the bubble screen. Gain of 2, second down 8.
I mean, yeah, Darien looks good, and they've been passing a lot more than we've seen. And again, not having Wilson's gonna show that. But Norwalk just can't seem to really stop this Darien pass, despite the fact that they've been seeing it way more than the run. And I don't know if Darien's run the ball so far, other than with Dahl.
Yeah, with these dual threat quarterbacks, it's certainly difficult to stop both sides, as we now see a run to Shelton, and he will come close to the first down. It will be third, what looks like 2 yards to go.
Again, that's also a good example of what I was talking about earlier. When you get really dominant with the pass, it opens up the run game more, because you're expecting more of a pass, and you can sort of get a run. You can sort of get a run under those linebackers who are usually going to be dropping back.
And Simeon Dahl once again on 3rd and 2. They will go to the pass. He'll roll out right, and he will just throw this one away.
Yeah.
Hot pursuit was the Norwalk defense.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the right call. There's the end of the third quarter, and just throw the ball away. You're in a good position. You can just throw a short punt, pin Norwalk to where they're in a bad position. And, you also get this quarter to try and game plan something if you do want to try to go for it on 4th down.
Your score right now at the end of the third quarter is 42-0. Darien here on senior night at Stadium Field, hoping to maintain this huge lead coming into the 4th quarter. We will be back on the DAF Media Network. And we are back. We saw a run right there from Darien for a couple of yards.
Yeah, just I mean, I said you could punt, but two yard situation. Darien's been good on 2 yard. I mean, getting about 2 yards on their runs, and so they rush for 2 yards and get the first down.
And Simeon Dahl now on a fresh set of downs for Darien. Will look to move the score ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I expect a lot of running here. You're just going to want to run out the clock. I mean, Darien sees what they've needed to see. They have a really comfortable lead, and I'm going to expect the clock to just wind down.
They will go with the run there for a couple of yards. And Simeon Dahl, I think we've had every touchdown for this Darien team by a different player. I'm going to see if I could count them out here. We had Simeon Dahl.
Yep.
Trevor Herget.
Yep.
Isaac McMullen.
Yep.
Liam McBride.
Yes.
And we had the pick 6 from Mac McGarren,
yep.
And then Brady Picorni as well.
Yeah, I mean, it goes to show you this Darien team is firing on all cylinders, and they're dangerous. They're dangerous in every part of their team, and that's a rare gift. And Darien's capitalizing on that.
And they will run it once more, inching their way towards the first down line. I do want to give a shout out at 3 o'clock tomorrow. The FCAC championship game for girls volleyball between the Darien Blue Wave and Trumbull. It will be played at Fairfield Ludlow, and it will be streamed on the DAF Media Network, as we do have a player down here for Norwalk.
Yeah, I mean, in such a wide margin of a game. That's the last thing you want to see. Is you want to see necessarily unnecessary injuries. And so with this player down, definitely the last thing you want to see.
And this Norwalk team looks to stop this Darien team, but Darien, as you've been saying all night, they've been firing on all cylinders, and we've seen them on special teams, offense and defense, just playing so well. And we just counted out the touchdowns. They've been spreading the wealth. And here's Simeon Dahl and the Blue Wave look to extend their lead as the player for Norwalk is now up and walking to the sideline. And Darien will start to retake the field. And here's Dahl. He'll give it off to Shelton. And Shelton, he's got some space. It's going to be a good tackle, but at the 5-yard line.
Down to the 5.
Clifton Shelton is one of the players who hasn't had a touchdown this game. We'll see if maybe 7 different people. That would be pretty crazy.
Really interesting running style from Shelton. Very different from Wilson. In that, on that previous run, you saw Shelton was just running at players and just standing his ground. He made a Norwalk defender fall over because I think the defender was expecting him to try to make a move or something, and he just blew right by him. No shift. And really different running style, and hard to counter.
And the same play, and as you were just talking, runs straight through now at the 3-yard line. And a couple more yards, and Darien will try to advance this lead.
Watch, he lowers his shoulder. Unfortunately, number 42 for the Bears, Cadonas, is too low for Shelton to hit with the shoulder. But he just lowers his shoulder and he keeps going to the play. He doesn't try to cut, and he uses his strength to his advantage there. But unfortunately, he just gets caught up with the legs, and no amount of strength can really help against that.
And Darien looks to extend their lead here. Simeon Dahl will hand it off to Shelton, and he will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. Good tackle there.
Yeah, I believe he hit a lineman there, and that's the one thing is you may be able to power through defenders, but you don't really want to power through your own team here. And as you watch, that trap block just doesn't get pushed far enough, and another player gets blocked into Shelton, and there's nothing you can do.
Goal from the 4.
Now 3rd down for Darien. You could see there 16% on 3rd downs. This one is a 3rd and goal. So we'll see what Dahl could do here.
Pictures on the scoreboard are amazing.
And Simeon Dahl will snap it. He's going to look to the corner. This one is caught for another touchdown.
Darien.
And Darien, that is number 16, Doug Somerville.
Another new player.
And Simeon Dahl is having a very good game tonight, and he is spreading the ball around for this Darien team.
I think having a good game might be an understatement. He looks just so good. Watch Dahl here when he throws. He looks left. He knows immediately that he wants Somerville. And so I was going to point out how throughout the whole game he has been going through his progressions really well. But there, he just finds an open player. He gets that, the sense that the Somerville is going to be open, and Somerville also was just open. And he gets the ball out. Really nice play by Dahl and by Somerville there.
Tucker Stevens now will kick another extra point. That is his 7th of the game. 7 for 7 for Tucker Stevens. Good showing by him.
Especially when we haven't seen him really playing all that much. I believe Sikora got the look as kicker last week. And so Stevens comes back out. He has been pretty automatic. Dead center all of his kicks. And he looks really good.
And for Dahl, we've seen, I think, 6 total touchdowns, 5 of them being passing. He had the 1 rushing touchdown. And how do you think this is going to be used as momentum in their next couple of games?
There's no question this is going to be a huge thing for Darien to go back to. And so what Dahl is going to do and what the whole coaching staff is going to do is they're going to look at this game and they're going to see this is the standard for quarterback play. Dahl has 6 touchdowns, 1 on the ground, 5 in the air. And he looks like a quarterback who doesn't matter what defense he's playing against. And so he's going to look back at this film, he's going to watch the film, see what works, see how he's playing, and use an example for playing in future games.
And that kick will be almost out of bounds, but another great return. You've been talking about this Norwalk special teams. That was a good kick, but just still a great return.
Yeah, Cadonas is shifty. He does a similar thing to Shelton, right? He runs pretty hard, and he doesn't lower his shoulder. He just sort of keeps running through missed tackles. And a lot of times in special teams, you might get players who aren't the best tacklers. And so he takes advantage of that, gets through some arm tackles, and gets brought down at the 29.
And Darien now a 49-0 lead. And I do want to give a shout out to our DAF Media crew today. Alongside me is Michael Mercine. I'm Cameron McGraw on director. We have Braden Shank. Cameras, we have Lucy Best, Andrew Lee, Connor Russo down on the field, Liam Tomaszewski with them. On graphics, we have Cooper Kelly. And on replay, James Foresta.
Great
That
crew.
It's going to be another run. A great crew coming and showing up to this game. Obviously.
Yeah, we got a great broadcast. Liam and Connor. I'm on last names right now. Liam and Connor have done an incredible job down on the field. I believe it might be both their first times with the camera. I know it's definitely Connor's first time with the camera. And, we've had a lot of really great shots on the field. And we've just had a really great production, and that's all due to our really impressive crew.
Yeah, it's the first time that DAF Media has started to use this on-the-field camera. You saw it earlier on in the game, and you're seeing it right now. Operated by both Liam Tomaszewski and Connor Russo. Props to them for getting that to work. And I also want to give a thanks to Damian Andrew for leading this DAF Media crew, our advisor, helping us get through all these games and helping us learn so much. As Darien have learned that, they're back. 49-0.
Yeah.
We saw a loss last week, but dominating right now.
Absolutely. This is a confidence booster if you're Darien, and this is exactly what you want to see. Now, even look at this. You have Darien. Norwalk trying to catch Darien offsides, but they're not going to do it. They have every reason to try to just rush the quarterback and be undisciplined with this lead, but they're staying sharp, and that's a really big thing for Darien.
And it will be another run on third down. It will be a fourth down for this Norwalk team. Darien up 49-0. We've been talking about all three dimensions of their football play today, and it looks like we got another injury for Norwalk, something you don't want to see in these late games.
Yeah, you got Diaz there holding his ankle. Definitely very scary. And again, I don't like using the word garbage time, but in time where there's a little bit less of a chance of getting back into this game, it really, really is heart-wrenching to see one of your best players get injured in that way and to go down in a game that might already be decided.
And, we saw him coming into this game late, and Diaz has been, in the runs that he's had, he's been a great part of this Norwalk team.
Yeah, exactly. He's been a difference maker. So that's he was allowing for these longer runs than Norwalk had been able to put together, and now that he's down, Norwalk's going to have to find something new and continue to keep innovating on this offense.
And it looks like we're going to take a quick break here on the DAF Media Network while we wait for Jaden Diaz to recover.
And as Diaz comes off the field with applause from both sides, I think both teams are ready to finish out this game.
Yeah, definitely. We got 4 minutes left in this fourth quarter. And we do have a fourth down, and it looks like we are bringing the punting unit up. As you can see, the Darien cheerleaders still here supporting their team. Do have some of the student section and a lot of the fans and parents still supporting these amazing athletes that we have on both sides. And here is the punt for Norwalk. This one's going to be caught by Girolamo, and another great tackle. That's going to be the captain of Norwalk. We've seen some great plays from him, Brendan Gilchrist.
One thing I noticed, and I don't usually point this out, but one thing I've noticed about Gilchrist is he's always out there. I see him tapping Darien players on the shoulder, and it seems like he's one of those. I can't speak to the Norwalk team specifically, but just by seeing how he carries himself, especially between plays, he looks like he really is a captain and a leader out on that field.
Yeah. A lot of these times with these captains, they're not just chosen for skill, they're chosen for sportsmanship. And Gilchrist, as you just pointed out, we've seen throughout the night, tapping Darien players on their shoulders.
Helping them out.
Yeah,
a lot. So some sort of penalty. Seems to be holding. And so Darien's going to be starting at their, 30-27? Pretty familiar territory.
Yep. And Darien now beneath 3 minutes left on the clock, and we do have a new quarterback coming into the game for this Darien team.
So number 17, Declan Cunningham.
And off to a bit of a rocky start there. Looks like some miscommunication.
Gilchrist again with the tackle.
And there was the run, and Gilchrist, we keep saying his name. Good tackle there in the backfield for Norwalk.
And then walking back even more.
Second down, 15.
We're going to just probably see a lot of runs as the clock's going to wind down. As the clock starts to wind down here, Darien's getting into the position where the clock has been running for the whole half, but Darien's getting into the position where they just want to take as much time between the plays and make sure everyone gets home uninjured.
And Declan Cunningham, he does get to see some time in the field, although it is senior night. And this one's going to be ran up along the sideline. A good run for Darien.
Yeah, also interestingly, alongside running back Harry Rooney as well. And so definitely really good really good to see them getting out here, see them getting some reps, and probably a picture of what's to come for Darien next year.
Yeah, obviously, when these seniors retire, it's up to the junior class and some of the sophomores that we've seen on the team. A lot of good juniors on this Darien team this year. One that comes to mind, Ryan Girlamo on defense has had a great year, pairing him with Robert McElhose. That tandem has been great for Darien.
Yeah, and Girlamo is definitely going to be one of those leaders that I think we're going to see step up next year.
And this one is going to be ran once more. Looks like a gain of 4 there for Darien as we close in on the 1 minute mark here on senior day at Stadium Field.
And it looks like Darien's choosing to keep the offense out there. Yeah, they are. So they're going to try interesting play. I wonder if they're going to run it or if they're just going to try to let the time expire here.
I wonder with Cunningham out there if they'll try a play or if they'll just run it and try to look some of the clock. They are letting the play clock run, which tells me maybe a run is coming. And there's the run. Will be handed off. He does have some space.
There's a lot of space.
And he's going to be able to keep going in the speed from Darien. And he will slow down and take a kneel. Great sportsmanship from Darien.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's what you need just to give the time to expire this game and not tack out unnecessary score. He knows how this game's going to go, and you don't want to push too far. And so that's going to be your final.
Final for tonight, 49-0. Darien shutting out Norwalk. You know, we saw great plays on offense, defense, and special teams. How do you think Darien will build off this in the following weeks?
I mean, Darien's going to have a lot of good film on how they look at their very high-level play, and they did what they needed to do. First of all, they came in for the win. That was essential. All these games from here on out are must-win. But they also continued out, and they looked really good, and they looked as good as they did against Greenwich. They looked like this a team that is better than their record of 5-3. You know, they've had some really close losses, and they've shown improvement. They've improved every week, and they've continued to improve this week, and that's really big.
And as for Norwalk, obviously, they've only had 1 win all year, now having 0 points in this shutout against Darien. How do you think that they'll build, especially with their quarterback out, second string Mason Rena had to come in today? How do you think they'll prepare for the following weeks as well?
I think they're going to look at this game, and they're going to remind themselves that a team is much more than its record and much more than its box score. I mean, we saw a lot of things that looked like they were starting to work for Norwalk, and getting down the 1-yard line and being stopped is unfortunate, but you're also facing a very good Darien defense and a very good goal line defense in Darien. And so they need to they can come away from this game looking at mistakes they've made, looking at the special teams differences. I mean, again, basically giving up four scores, that's just something you can't do as a offense and special teams unit. And so if you're Norwalk, you have a lot of things slurred for this game, but you also see a lot of good things. You see the beginning of a big movement towards, potentially more wins in the future.
And I want to give one more shout out to our DAF Media crew helping us today. Director Braden Shank, cameras Lucy Best, Andrew Lee, Connor Russo, and Liam Tomaszewski both on the field. Graphics Cooper Kelly, replay James Foresta. I've been Cameron McGraw alongside me, Michael Mercine. Michael, thank you for helping me tonight. Obviously, a good win for Darien.
Definitely.
And we will hopefully see this Darien team back here in the following weeks. Thank you for tuning in.